Caw, 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 caw. I remember the first armadillo I ever saw. I was in basic training with Chris Riley out of Florida. He was a National Guard guy going through. I was regular Army. We were best friends in basic training. We had a lot of good times. Giggling like the one time when we went to pick up all our gear for basic training. Like right in the beginning, we go to clothing and sales, and they give us all these things, and they give us a pair of wet weather boots, which nobody ever carried with them but me. And when we came out, as part of the procedure, the drill sergeants would make us put everything on, which is wise. That way, at least, you know, you really did get what they said you got, and they check everybody out. And I put these wet weather boots, these big green stupid things that nobody ever used ever, except me. They're close enough on the right and the left. I got them on the wrong feet. And I was standing there, and I'm looking at my feet, and I'm laughing. And Riley is standing next to me. And the drill sergeant comes up. He said, what the fuck are you looking at? I said, they're on the wrong feet, drill sergeant. You could just tell that they were on the wrong feet. And he's, what's so funny about that? And I said, it's just so ridiculous. It was a ridiculous experience. And that's why Chris Riley liked me, because I could bring ridicule to any moment. And it befuddled the drill sergeant Mahabir Singh, and he just left me alone. So when I got to permanent party, I went down to see Chris Riley, where he lived in, I think it was Clearwater, Florida. I think that's the name of the place. And we were driving through back roads in the middle of the night. It was pitch black. We were coming from a drinking binge in the woods. And he looks and we're coming around a curve. He was driving at a high rate of speed. I believe he's probably by now wrecked as many cars as me. We had the same kind of driving mentality. He just wanted to drive. We come around the corner, and in the headlights, there's I said, it was the first time I ever saw one in my entire life, right there on the road. I said, that's an armadillo. And he went, we heard it roll under the car, and he looked at me and he says, that was an armadillo. And I said, oh. Well, imagine that was the last armadillo on Earth. I would have been a part of eliminating a species. Not such a big deal they can't talk. It's different if you can actually speak with the species you are eliminating. If you can actually understand the words they have to say, and they can understand the words you have to say. That's what they call genocide. This is just running over another fucking thing out in the valley with a soft belly, I guess. I don't know how to put it. But here's the thing. Reading the old Farmer's Almanac this morning. because I left my Saddam Hussein book outside. I have to go just beyond what today has to say, and I have to read little stories in here about the black hockey player in Canada, the spiders in nature. Today I opened up and it was this. It was this. The 2022 essay contest winners. I didn't even know they had one. I didn't know they had a contest for stories for Reader's Digest. I'm going to have to pay attention. But it says, my most memorable wildlife experience. That's what it is. And it says, we received hundreds of wonderfully wild tales with an exclamation point. Thank you to everyone who took the time to share your experience. And I just felt bad because I didn't get to share my experiences with wildlife. But first prize for $300, it was a woman named Sarah Wild. She's from Wisconsin. And her story right here, it says, our trip to Galveston Island, Texas. Everything that goes wrong in a story starts with Texas. Fuck Texas. You got me started. I didn't know it was going to go on this long. It's getting better all the time. You hear that? Tinking in the distance? You can go on and comment and see what you think it is. Tink. Tink. As I was saying, every story that goes wrong starts in Texas. Fuck Texas. Our trip to Galveston Island, Texas, to camp for spring break, a bust. To camp for spring break, a bust. It makes it sound like, they won $300 for this. If you're only offering $300 on a goddamn contest, you're going to get poor grammar and shitty perspectives. This story is pretty good, but I get confused right from the start. I don't get confused, but you could say it's a confusing statement to say to camp for spring break, a bust. They're saying it was a shitty trip. My spring break in Texas was a shitty trip. It wouldn't have been so bad. It's not just because I went to jail, but if the sun would have been out, it would have made it okay. Our van load of friends began the trek back to campus in Wisconsin. That's the interesting thing. You rarely meet anybody that's from Wisconsin out in the real world. They're like the Amish. They let them out for spring break. If they don't come back, okay. We'll see how that goes. However, I always felt like people from Wisconsin were just people that were born of people that got left behind on a camping trip. The sun had long set by the time we reached Big Thicket National Preserve north of Beaumont, We drove in after hours to find the gate open with a sign instructing us to find an empty site and pay in the morning. As we wound through the bayou, we noticed warning signs along the drive. Beware of alligators. Alligators in the area. Watch for alligators. This seemed ominous. The Spanish moss hung from the trees while ground fog rose as we pulled into an empty site. Wow! Friends were setting up tents. I set up the camp kitchen, preparing a late night dinner in the damp, late winter chill. Then I heard it. The leaves rustled. Sticks moved. There was the distinct sound of tent nylon being tested, and I jumped on top of the picnic table with a shout of, "Alligator!" Everyone paused, ready to run. As I turned toward the tent that the guy I was fucking had set up, I saw a very startled armadillo looking back at me. It's the fucking armadillo, man. She won $300 for that story. I wonder how much they take on taxes. She's going to get screwed for not paying the $100, the 66.666 with a line over it percent. She's, well, doesn't everybody that does tax evasion get arrested? She's going to be in trouble, no matter what the next guy does. So I found it interesting. Here today, I read this story about an armadillo. It's not an alligator, it's an armadillo. And immediately I realized that I'm out of sorts with my time. One day off, because yesterday, here in the old Farmer's Almanac, yesterday, the 7th of July, Friday, GR armadillo's mate now. If I'd have done the story that I did today, yesterday, it would be relevant. But now, it's just old news.